Welcome all one more time here on your wonderful show, Sankofa Galaxy Universal Network, broadcasting live from Johannesburg, South Africa, and we're happy again that you are with us here, wherever you are on the continent of Africa. You could be in Kenya, you could be in Angola, you could be in Congo, up in Nigeria, you could be in Algeria, wherever you are on the face of this beautiful continent. Today we are again driving the greater concept and the conversation around African individuality and African spirituality. The journey that we all take to discover ourselves is not cut and paste. It's not written in stone. It's not one shoe fits all. Every individual on the face of the earth have their own mission and purpose to which they have come into this life to exist, to live, and to fulfill. And some of those journeys will take through, we'll see people going through initiation. Some will end up in academic institutions, some in mental hospitals, of course. Some will end up as community workers. Some will end up in different professions of life. And in all these professions, remember one thing for sure, that which drives you is your passion. And many people are misplaced because they follow careers and they forget to follow their passion. They forget to follow their calling. And the calling is that part of you that will make you act and do things without pressure, and will give you the greatest of all satisfaction and the greatest of all fulfillment. And with us tonight, we have a very interesting guest who has poked in many kitchens and in many halls from the traditional side, the academic space, as she was finding her own truth. Setati, the first name is Landelile. My mind was taking me to Landelile. I'll call it Landi for this show, or I'll call her Umama Setati, who is with us in studio, and she'll be taking us through her own personal story and how she has found herself to discover her own truth. Welcome to the show, Sis Landi. Can you greet the viewers out there?
Thank you so much, Maponga. Hello, everyone. Hello, viewers. I'm very honored to be here today. I remember telling my mom today that the excitement that I feel right now is equivalent to a child back then who wanted to meet Nelson Mandela one day. Because when I first came to know about Maponga was when one of my Facebook friends made a comment on one of my statuses and said, "But you remind me of this man called Maponga Joshua." I'm like, "Who's this man? I've never heard of him." And he said, "Go find out." And today,
so you Googled me.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's when I started following you and going into Farmers of Thought, because I resonated so much with what you had to say. Obviously, I can't agree with you on everything.
Of course. I mean, imagine husband and wife disagree.
Exactly.
Who are we to think that you can meet someone, a stranger on the road, and you must agree on everything?
Exactly.
And I appreciate that. Yes. I appreciate that honesty. Yeah. Thank you very much. But map on the top side of the conversation, which subjects on my conversation in the Farmers of Thought have you found to be closer to your heart? What would you...
Closer to my heart? I remember when I started at Farmers of Thought and everybody was like, "This wise man, this great man," because I get that a lot too. It's like, okay, we love your wisdom, we love your advices. But then I remember there was one show when you said, "I actually know nothing. I'm a student as well." I don't know everything. I might know some things for sure, but I don't know everything. And the moment you admitted that, I said, if I want a leader, that's my leader.
Oh, wow.
Because you don't get that in people. People want to think that they know everything.
You want to become absolute.
Yes.
And I've always created, like in my pursuit of knowledge, I've always kept what I might want to term open doors, both in the front and in the back, so that when people are coming with information, I could be receptive to various schools of interpretation and various schools and philosophies that are, coming towards me as an individual with a purpose, of course, that I must learn from them. But as people also come, some are coming to learn. But I will always make sure that the doors at the back are open, so that if I will always tell you, proceed, go that way, and please cross over. But unfortunately, people want to sit. People want to sit and say, I'll tell you can sit for the moment that you must sit. But remember that I'm not a destination. I'm just a bus stop to your greater endeavors. Collect what you must collect and then proceed and move on. And if there's anything that is in me that will assist you to become what you must be, I won't make it difficult for you to access that information.
That is very true. I always say that a healer is not somebody who helps you to heal in terms of telling you what to do. A healer is someone who sits with you in that moment of your journey for whatever time purpose allows while you heal yourself. I can't heal you. You have to heal yourself. I just produce an environment that
where you can begin to process some critical issues. I've mentioned in one of my counseling sessions when I was speaking to this couple that was going through a difficult time, and I discovered that the wife had become the nurse to this man. And when I'm saying nurse, I mean in a psychological way. She had decided to take this as a patient, and unfortunately the patient healed. And across the healing space, he no longer needed a nurse. Now he needed a wife. And the wife was not smart enough to adjust. He says, you came here as my patient, you're going to stay as my patient. And the frustration that I saw in that counseling session is the wife is trying to say, you are not with well. And the man is saying, I am now well. The man says, I want to go. The wife says, you can't go. And very, very fascinating that maybe people need to find ways of adjusting themselves, and let's stop owning each other, and allow people to grow.
Grow. It's funny that you say that, because recently I'm about to make a move from where I'm staying to another place for my studies and my career path. And somebody asked me, are you going to move with your boyfriend? And I'm said, no, he can't live in my shadow. He needs to know who he is apart from me. So he can't hang on to, I have this woman that I love and admire so much, and therefore I just want to be around her all the time, but he doesn't know himself. He needs to be able to function on his own, knowing that if she loves me, she's gonna love me willingly.
And if he also loves you,
he'll do so willingly.
You must constantly be in the process of growing and finding you. And by the way, while you're on that, maybe this conversation is taking its own direction. In some relationships, people see like a hot person, spiritually hot. I'm saying that in that context, and. Then they become the bucket of cold water, and then they take their temperature into this temperature, and if there is not enough support structures of keeping this heat up, most likely you end up at an equilibrium where the other one now has to reduce their requirements as the other one is picking up their requirements, and they will reach a level of mediocrity. Whereas if you find someone who is already moving in a certain direction, it would be nice for you to catch up as fast as possible, so that you don't actually pull them back into your space.
To meet them on their level.
Yes. How have you dealt with people who actually think that you can't think like that? You can't feel like that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't say that.
Yes.
People who actually have this obsession over containing human spirit into a level of their own perception, and they refuse anybody to go beyond what they are.
Dealt with that all my life. You deal with that in every context that you live in, the environment at home sometimes, in school, in the streets, everywhere. You deal with people who come with their own preconceived ideas and ideologies from their environments. So here you are, probably in the streets, and somebody says to you, Mina ngumZulu. Okay, is that supposed to mean something?
Then you say me Mdebele.
Yes.
Then the argument must stop.
Must stop.
Unless if you're saying I must become Zulu to relate to
to
you.
relate to you.
Yeah.
Because now people like to impose themselves on other people. This is why when people start, for a very long time, I wouldn't touch up on subjects of religion and culture because I knew that I was going to upset people because I know how people get when it comes to those two. And then at the end I was like, it's all the same. And they're like, you can't say that. And I say, I'm saying that.
I can say that.
Culture comes from a system, from the Kemet system into cultures, subcultures and whatnot. And then religion also comes from that. So initially it's just the vicious circle of who is trying to outsmart the other from a fundamental thing that started, you know, so the basis of everything is the same. But because as human beings, it's natural for us to say that I have a brain too. I'm going to show you that I can be my own self. Even though people don't like admitting it, but you're finding that today, as we speak, the amount of awakening
that's happening
globally.
Oh, wow.
People are really realizing that there are some things in the Bible that they can't relate with.
Yeah.
And because they were conditioned from childhood
to accept everything,
they were not taught. They were not taught to question. Because a critical thinker like me, I'm very inquisitive. So I rattle a lot of feathers. And then you get people who grow up thinking that it's not okay to question because the Bible said this is the only truth, nothing else out there. And then you ask yourself that, but there are some things when I read in here, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And that's your intuition, that's your spirit speaking to you. Because your spirit, it doesn't lie.
And it knows truth.
It knows the truth.
And you cannot lie to it.
It will not lie to you, and you will try to lie to your spirit by virtue of your intellectual masturbation, as you like to put it. And because you want to now come and say that gut feeling that I got, that intuition that told me that this is not right.
It's a devil.
It must be the devil, but you forget that you have both inside of you. And now you're trying to suppress this other side of you because in the Bible say that it's some man with horns and or your ancestors and you know, it depicted holographic people, you know, it gave spiritual analogies
which are Greco-Roman myths of creating devils, and
it gave it characters, it made it
even color.
Yes,
even color. The devil comes out as black and Jesus comes out as white, you know. Let me share with you one nugget before we shoot into the program. Just one nugget that I'll share with you. When people fight with you, they are fighting with themselves. It has nothing to do with you. They're trying to confirm their own paradigms. They're trying to confirm their rightness in themselves.
Justify, as I call it.
And the quicker you understand that actually when someone is at war with you, you actually look at them and say, man, I hope you win this battle with yourself. Tell us more about Setati and her journey into the spiritual realm.
This dynamic young lady, I've seen life. I've seen life, and today, when I talk about my story, I talk openly and I write statuses or Facebook posts, and people will be like, but Landi, you can't say that in public. You can't talk about your life like that. I'm like, why? Who's supposed to talk about it? I don't want to be another character one day whereby somebody said, Landi said no. I want to say it now. I want to speak my truth now. I don't want people misinterpreting my words. This is the best free
space that I have.
I found
which one of your statuses has caused a big riffraff on just one?
When I told them